This is absolutely ridiculous. It's beyond absurd. The car owner from Pakistan, wanting to transport more goods, directly brought his scrap truck to Peshawar. He plans to have it converted into a 100-ton truck here. To carry more, the truck's frame is crucial. Therefore, the technicians now need to dismantle the entire frame for inspection. After disassembly, each channel steel piece appears rusty. It can be used, but it's not durable. As they say, you have to spend money to make money. Therefore, the owner plans to replace all the channel steel with new ones. The new channel steel is also made by the technicians using these thick steel plates, pressing them out bit by bit on a hydraulic machine. Before this, the technicians had already made clear markings on the steel plates. Now, they just need to punch along the markings. After one round of stamping, the channel steel has now taken shape. However, it's still not finished because the bending angles are not precise. Therefore, the technicians still need to use a 90-degree mold to adjust and check the angles, ensuring they are completely uniform. This is a very time-consuming and labor-intensive process. The technicians work from morning until night to produce the required quantity. At this moment, they are not planning to finish their shift but are instead stacking one layer of channel steel onto another to ensure it can handle 100 tons without deforming. With the powerful pressure of the hydraulic machine, the technicians quickly joined the three pieces of channel steel together. To prevent misalignment of the channel steel during subsequent work, the technicians first used electric welding to fix the pieces in place after pressing them together. By the next morning, the technicians began using a grinder to smooth the weld points. However, even after grinding, they still felt that the three layers of channel steel were not sturdy enough. So, they added an additional layer of channel steel at the rear. As a result, the single side beam now consists of 4 layers of channel steel. Isn't that a bit excessive? The next steps were even more outrageous. When installing the crossbeams, they didn't use any sophisticated beam alignment tools. They only relied on a tape measure for simple measurements. The most advanced tool used was a level. Nevertheless, the technicians were able to ensure that the beams had no alignment issues. Of course, any issues would be someone else's problem. After the crossbeams were assembled, they were initially fixed with some welding. Once all the crossbeams were installed, the frame was essentially complete. But it wasn't finished yet. The technicians still needed to use an electric drill to make holes for the subsequent installation of rivets. Although it wasn't as convenient and quick as using a magnetic drill, the technicians' current method of drilling using leverage was also quite time-efficient and labor-saving. In no time, they had drilled all the necessary holes for the rivets. Next, they could install the mushroom rivets and secure them using hot riveting. Through the markings on the beams, it's clear that the rivet holes were not just randomly drilled but were precisely placed according to geometric calculations. The holes for parts that need to be bolted on are drilled by first installing the parts and then drilling along the holes. There are quite a few of these holes, including those for the cabin supports, engine mounts, and other various components. Drilling these holes and installing all the little parts takes a whole day. Once everything is adjusted and installed, the steel plate springs can be reinstalled. Although these are just the front axle springs, the number of steel plates is quite staggering, and comfort is not really a factor. Driving might be bumpy, but to reduce costs for the owner, the technicians still chose to use the original engine, which is a testament to the integrity of the vendor. However, this might feel like a small engine pulling a big load. Once the engine is securely mounted and the cabin supports are successfully installed, the cabin can be lifted and moved into place for final securing. Everything progressed smoothly, and every bolt hole was perfectly aligned, fitting flawlessly. As a result, the cabin was securely fixed in place in less than an hour. On the other side, the technicians began measuring the position of the rear hitch. They then mounted the hitch at the marked location and initially fixed it with spot welding. Once the position was confirmed, they drilled holes and fixed it with bolts. These holes were relatively straightforward to handle. The most critical part was the central hitch, which is crucial for the installation of the balance beam. The technician is currently cutting this area to prepare for the installation of the balance beam. This is a precise task that must be done perfectly to avoid any noise during driving. After checking and confirming that everything is in order, the hitch can be secured in place, and then the balance beam can be installed. After everything is properly installed, the steel plates at the rear can be assembled back. Since the rear axle hasn't been installed yet, attaching the steel plates is relatively easy. Once the steel plates are fixed, the two rear axles can be installed. To facilitate the process, the rear axles were not fitted with tires yet, so the technicians can work directly on the ground. If there's any slight misalignment, they can use a hoist to adjust the position. After positioning is adjusted, they secure the axles with saddle bolts. Meanwhile, on the other side, the technicians have almost finished installing the front part of the vehicle, with only the cabin's glass yet to be installed. The method for installing the windshield is quite simple. They first put a rubber seal around the glass, then use a rope threaded through the seal's gap. Once everything is ready, they work together to place it in position. After confirming that the position is correct, they pull out the rope from the seal's gap from inside, which helps the seal grip tightly around the cabin and secure the glass in place. Next, they install the exhaust pipe they made by hand. Now, the general structure of the entire vehicle is revealed. Although the tires are not yet fully mounted, just looking at the entire frame shows that it is no ordinary build. This frame can certainly handle 100 tons without issue. However, to ensure everything is perfect, the technicians need to take the vehicle for a road test and make incremental adjustments. Only after confirming that there are no problems will the vehicle be delivered to the owner, allowing them to drive with peace of mind.